Young and the Restless early spoilers March 17th to 21st. Alan the Captor. Claire pushes back and Jack suspicious. Young and the Restless spoilers show that Alan Laurent, Christopher Cousins, is exposed. Claire Grace Newman, Haley Aaron, clashes, and Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, smells a rat. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and if you're not following us, please click that subscribe button. As we always do on Early Edition Day, we start with what is coming the rest of this week. On Wednesday, March 12th, we have Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, and Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, deciding to take control and find a way out. What has got them collaborating like this? Well, Sharon stopped breathing. Then, Phyllis resuscitated her with mouth-to-mouth action. Now they have both saved each other's lives on Young and the Restless. And they think that is the final test that's going to allow them to get out of there. Sharon and Phyllis vow to team up, and they start working to get out of Havenhurst Psychiatric Clinic. Alan's deception and Tracy's engagement. Meanwhile, Alan Laurent, Christopher Cousins, proposes to Tracy Abbott, Beth Maitland, who is thrilled to say yes. But when Alan takes off to buy a ring, he stops to check his phone. He is monitoring Phyllis and Sharon in the room where they are trapped. So he is their captor, and like many fans suspected for a while, I don't think that's Alan. I think that is his evil twin Martin, even though it seems improbable. There was the whole thing with one falling to his death. And one was in clothes, the other one wasn't wearing, and there wasn't time to change. Nonetheless, I think Young and the Restless has done some sort of retroactive rewrite to make him evil. Tracy tells Jack and Diane Jenkins, Susan Walters, she's engaged, and they are thrilled for her. Oh my gosh, poor Tracy, they just can't let her be happy. The search for Phyllis and Sharon. Clues and suspicions on Young and the Restless. Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, and Chance Chancellor, Connor Floyd, tell Summer Newman, Allison Lanier, they've narrowed down the area where they think Phyllis and Sharon are likely being held based on various evidence. Nick seems to doubt that the ladies are in danger. He thinks there's some other motive for them having been taken. Chance is waiting on search warrants, but Nick is impatient. Chance spends some time comforting Summer and reassures her that he will bring her mom home safe and sound. Meanwhile, Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson, lets Nick know that he got a text message from Phyllis's burner phone. He kept calling and calling on Young and the Restless. And then he had a text, and it said, "Click here for info about Havenhurst Psychiatric Clinic." Nick looks and says the clinic is right in the quadrant where they plan to search. So Nick and Billy update Chance, and they wonder, is this a real lead, or is this some sort of diabolical trap? Jack's suspicions and a dangerous trap. Thursday, March 13th, we have Jack confessing to Diane on Young and the Restless. I wonder if he is smelling a rat a little bit and concerned about Alan. Like the way he's just willing to scrap everything in his life to be with Tracy. You know, he was this esteemed psychiatrist, he had all these speaking engagements, all this stuff. And it's all fallen by the wayside while he's just devoting himself to Tracy. Jack may just wonder if he's too good to be true, and the answer is yes. Jack, please dig in. Sharon and Phyllis find themselves in a trap. They're trying to escape, but did Alan, evil twin Martin, set them up? And are they both in danger? Meanwhile, Victor Newman, Eric Braden, calls Adam Newman, Mark Grossman's decision-making into question, and I'm sure that his son is not going to be happy that Victor is probing him like that, and I wonder what Adam has done to annoy him. Life or death fight and a villain revealed on Young and the Restless. We've also got on Friday, March 14th, Phyllis and Sharon in a life or death fight to stay alive. So it looks like Alan/Martin's diabolical plan is not benevolent. It had seemed like it had some sort of purpose up to some point. Maybe to force their rivalry to end. But I don't know about you guys, but evil Alan/Martin really wasn't on my bingo card for this. I do think he's an interesting choice, and I'm fine with that way. We're not dealing with anybody on the regular character canvas as being this villain, and Ian Ward, Ray Wise, remains gone, which is fine. The race to rescue. Will they arrive in time? So on Friday, Nick and Billy have another lead from Chance on Young and the Restless. Looks like maybe he gets some more info either about the text or the psychiatric clinic. The guys get in the car, and Nick and Billy are racing towards Phyllis and Sharon to save them. The question, of course, is, will they get there in time? Of course they will. I'm guessing the White Knights roll up at a precise moment for Nick to save Sharon and Billy to save Phyllis, but I don't think it's going to happen on Friday. Spoilers for March 17th to 21st. Claire's frustration and Billy's discovery. Going into the week of March 17th through the 21st, Claire is losing patience with Summer, but she doesn't blame Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, for what his ex-wife is doing. However, Claire may ask Kyle to pay closer attention to what Summer is doing. How she is actively trying to mess with their relationship on Young and the Restless. And I personally cannot wait for Claire to just go directly at Summer and confront her. Claire knows exactly what Summer is up to, and of course, she will deny it, but Claire is not a fool. Meanwhile, Billy and Nick Newman may kick off the following week just at the point where they have found the ladies. I expect Cliffhanger Friday is going to be pretty tense this week, and maybe they just pull up as things are getting bad. I don't expect resolution until the week of March 17th. Unmasking Martin. Jealousy and twisted experiments. Now, even though by the end of Wednesday's episodes, we all know it's Alan/Martin as the kidnapper. The question is, why did he do it? If you don't recall, Martin is a straight-up sociopath, while his twin Alan is a kindly doctor. And I feel pretty certain that this is something Martin's done. He made a study of psychology because his twin is a respected shrink, and he was obsessed and jealous. So I feel like this was some twisted experiment of Martin. Like he just can't help himself from being in the Restless universe continues to twist tighter this week, as new revelations and shocking turns begin to paint a more sinister picture around Alan's true motives, Claire's wavering loyalties, and Jack's intuition that something just isn't right in Genoa City. What starts as a simple rescue mission spirals into a web of manipulation, half-truths, and long-buried secrets that refuse to stay hidden. Alan the Captor. A hero or a hidden villain? When Alan first entered the picture, fans were quick to peg him as the calm, rational psychiatrist who helped Claire Grace navigate her trauma. But this week, that facade begins to crack. Alan's gentle demeanor gives way to something darker, and far more disturbing, as inconsistencies in his behavior begin to emerge. Claire has been staying with Alan temporarily, attempting to rebuild her life after the chaos of her connection to Jordan. However, subtle clues suggest Alan may not be the savior he claims to be. Locked doors, mysterious phone calls, and his increasing insistence that Claire stay indoors hint that something sinister is afoot. In one chilling early scene, Claire overhears Alan speaking softly on the phone, a conversation laced with veiled threats and cryptic statements about finishing what Jordan started. When Claire confronts him, Alan smoothly deflects, claiming she misheard, and that her paranoia is a side effect of her trauma. But viewers can see the tightening grip he's beginning to have over her. What started as therapeutic concern is transforming into control. Alan's tone grows more possessive. His smile doesn't quite reach his eyes. The man who was supposed to help her heal might be the one orchestrating her new nightmare. Claire pushes back, finding her inner strength. Claire Grace has been through hell and back, manipulated by her deranged Aunt Jordan, rejected by her newfound family, and labeled as unstable. But this week marks a turning point. She's no longer the frightened, guilt-ridden young woman desperate for approval. As Alan's behavior becomes increasingly erratic, Claire begins piecing together the clues. She notices that every time she mentions visiting Nikki or Victoria, Alan finds a way to discourage her. He tells her she's not ready, that the outside world will tear her apart. Yet his concern feels less like protection and more like imprisonment. A chilling moment unfolds when Claire discovers a locked drawer in Alan's study, filled with medical files, notes about her therapy sessions, and, disturbingly, photos of the Newman family. Alan has been tracking them. The realization leaves her reeling. In a quietly powerful scene, Claire stares into the mirror, whispering to herself, "I'm not weak anymore." It's a subtle nod to her evolution, from Jordan's pawn to a woman ready to reclaim her autonomy. Later, when Alan tries to gaslight her again, suggesting her memories are unreliable, Claire pushes back, demanding the truth. Alan's calm veneer slips for the first time, revealing flashes of rage. His control is unraveling, and Claire knows she's running out of time. Jack's suspicion, trouble brewing in Genoa City. Meanwhile, across town, Jack Abbott finds himself caught in another kind of mystery. He's been preoccupied with keeping peace at Jabot, but something in his gut tells him that danger is lurking far closer than anyone realizes. Jack crosses paths with Victoria at Crimson Lights, where she appears tense and distracted. When he gently probes, she admits she hasn't heard from Claire in days, and that Alan hasn't responded to her calls. Jack's protective instincts flare up. He knows what it's like to lose someone to manipulation, and something about Alan never sat right with him. Later, He confides in Diane that he can't shake the feeling Alan might not be who he says he is. Diane dismisses it at first, chalking it up to Jack's tendency to get involved in Newman business. But his intuition has saved lives before. This time it might again. Jack begins digging quietly, contacting one of his old connections in the medical community to run a background check on Dr. Alan Laurent. What he uncovers leaves him chilled. There are gaps in Alan's employment history, a sealed malpractice claim, and records suggesting he may have used aliases in the past. Something's off, Jack mutters, staring at the file. And if Claire's with him, she could be in real danger. The web tightens. Jordan's shadow looms. As the storylines intertwine, whispers of Jordan resurface. A mysterious envelope arrives at Newman Enterprises. No return address, just a single photo of Claire and Alan together. The implication is clear. Jordan's legacy isn't over, and someone might be continuing her twisted mission. Victoria becomes frantic, torn between guilt and fear. She turns to Victor, who immediately vows to find Claire and bring her home safely. But Jack, having already begun his quiet investigation, may get there first. His suspicion that Alan's connection to Jordan runs deeper than anyone realizes might be the key to saving Claire before it's too late. And in a haunting teaser for the week's end, Alan is shown sitting alone in his office, staring at an old photograph, one that includes Jordan, a young Claire, and himself in the background. His whispered words send shivers down the spine. She taught me everything I know. The stage is set for explosive revelations. The upcoming episodes promise a psychological thriller-style unraveling. Alan's descent into obsession will likely mirror Jordan's manipulative cruelty, with Claire trapped between her need for freedom and her fear of confronting him. Jack, stepping into the unlikely role of hero, might team up with the Newmans to expose the truth. His growing suspicion will lead him down a path that connects past crimes, hidden alliances, and betrayals that stretch far beyond one family. Victoria, too, will face her reckoning. Her desire to help her daughter may push her into dangerous territory, and Victor's protective instincts could spark a Newman versus Abbott clash just as both families need to unite the most.